Okay, it is that time of the week, that time of the month. It's another edition of Talk of the Day, and it's me, Abyss here, the Fitness Abyss. How y'all been? Last month I finished off the review series, bleeding from 1 to 50. That way I can get rid of all the backlog and focus on the new direction of this and the more recent ones. Because, like I said, Sinister ain't on here no more, and I've gotten more focused into what this series is about. I wouldn't even call it a podcast at this moment. More of a just a live talk. But right now, I still call it the Talk of the Day podcast because eventually I would like to get into having guests on the show and talking about mental health and issues and money and anything that could be seen as a self-improvement thing and more of like something you can actually apply into your life. Which today, since I don't have to review anymore, we just did a law of attraction review, which was where I explained that, this is one of the reasons why the show, the podcast kept getting postponed because I was working on a topic that I wasn't really sure how to handle. Because, like, there's a lot of things to the law of attraction, to the 12 universal laws, but it was just like, okay, well, this law is so general, do I even make it its own thing? And then, like, how do you even apply this? Like, it's great to know things like that, right? But what really matters is how we apply. Because knowledge without application, does that really make a difference, or is it just talk at the end of the day, right? Anyway, so today I'm going to talk about brain health. I thought this was going to be a series, but I think I'm just going to keep it to one little topic here because I don't want to give away everything about these books. These two books I'm talking about in general, which I have them on to the side to me and I will show you. But what got me into brain health? That's what I want to talk about. What got me into brain health? Well, I got addicted to pre-workout pretty bad. Taking way too much in a day. And like I knew this had an effect on me. And like I was like, I want my brain to be great. And then like I have a family history of Alzheimer's and like dementia. Grandma had it, my grandpa had it. It runs in my dad's side of the family. So it's like, okay, Alzheimer's is a thing that could affect me based on my genetics. So I was like, well, how do I go about it? And I turned 30 last year. I'll turn 31 next month. So it's been almost a year journey already of me getting more in tune with my mental health and deeper than that, but brain health. I've learned a lot about the brain. Like I've always been big on mental health, but I always was like, okay, so I can do this and then it's going to lead to this. But it's like, let me try to understand my brain. So I've been taking I've even been taking psychology classes, to learn about the brain because it's fascinating. And then like, there's a lot of things you learn about it. But what started that journey was me watching Diary of a CEO. He talked about brain health. This guy, I think Steven's the host of the show, but he sat down with Dr. Daniel G. Allman. And he talked about brain health. And I was fascinated by that podcast. So I sat and I watched it and I was like, okay, that's great. He gave a few tips. I was like, well, okay, now, but I need to get his books and start applying this into my life. Because not only will that be good for my brain and good for my family history of Alzheimer's, of me fighting against that family history of Alzheimer's, but it'll also be good for helping me get off this pre-workout kick I'm on. And I've always was like, how do I get my brain to the highest state, or my body even? Like, how can I become the controller of my mind? And a lot of it is, killing the ants, which is one of the theories in this book. Techniques in the book, it's not theory. It's a technique in the book, which means you don't have to believe every thought you have. So you kill the ants. That's what he calls it. The ants are like an acronym for something negative thinking. Automatic negative thinking, I believe it stands for. So when you have that negative thought, you're like, okay, I am not my brain. You don't have to believe that thought. Just let it pass. So I'm fascinated. I bought his books. It took me 3 or 4 months to actually read and digest them. I got two of them here. I bought this one, which is one of his earlier ones. Change your brain, change your life. This actually was a pretty good book. I liked it. And the thing about these two books that I got, I thought they were going to be very similar when I bought them. So I was like, well, I'm going to read this book, and then I get into that book, it'd be the same thing. It's a little bit different. This one actually talks about the parts of the brain and doesn't really use the bright minds factor, which I'll talk about that later and what that is. This breaks down the areas of the brain and how you can specifically work on the brain. Dr. Daniel G. Amen, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. I highly suggest you pick this book up if you're getting into brain health, and it's a great place to start. Um, Now, if you're looking for like immediate things you can do, here's a newer book over here. Let me put this one back down. Called "Change Your Brain Every Day" by Daniel G. M. Which he's a brain doctor, I guess you could say, because he runs SPECT scans and brains and that. And I love his story. Like he ran pretty much went to the family business, and then he asked his dad, you guys talk about all this mental health stuff and get all this, but like, why don't you ever look at the brain? That's the question he asked his dad, and his dad was like, "This, that, what we do." So he kind of branched out and done that, which this is his story. Y'all should look into it. Really good guy. Now, the way this book works is different from that book, is this one talks about bright mind factors. But more than that, that's the reason I said there's something you can do immediately. This is called Change Your Brain Every Day, which is also, it's broke down that way. Like, for example, I'm just going to show y'all the first page here. And then if I can get to it. Okay, so like day one, it breaks it down in days. In day one, so you can read this book like one page a day or one day a day. Sometimes some of these go longer than a page. Not a whole lot of them though. And it's like, okay, I read that today. I can apply that today. You know. So that breaks it down and uses bright minds for, but it doesn't go into detail with the areas of the brain, which makes me thankful of that I bought it and started reading it this way. Bought both these books and read these books in the order I did. I started reading The Change Your Brain Every Day, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go back and forth, and I did. I went back and forth. There would be weeks where I would read The Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, and I made extensive notes. I got that all on my Notion uh, of how it can actually be applied for me, and I'll get into that. I do have my notes in front of me on Notion right here. That way I can try to keep on topic. Now, I don't want to break these books down because I feel like it would be a disjustice to Daniel G. Amen because he can A, explain it better than me, B, I want you guys to buy his books, and C, that he deserves it. And he deserves he is I would love to get a brain spec, which is like a scan of the brain, but I'm not in a position to do that, nor do I would have to travel, I guarantee, and I can't do that. So talking about brain health, I believe is very important because it's part of fighting, taking control of your mental health, especially where COVID hit. Me working with kids, I can tell, like, work with younger kids, so you could I could tell, like, compared to years ago, like 2018, 2019, seeing how those kids were at that age group, and I'm dealing with kids that had to handle something during COVID, it has affected things. But even that's just for that example. Um, for kids, working with older people, I can also see the effect it's had. It's had a huge effect on mental health, and I feel like now things are starting to shine on mental health, and it's great. But more importantly, it's like people need tools. And I'm even having to fight mental health issues because it's something I've dealt with my whole life. But when I was younger in school, we never talked about it. We've heard about it. And I don't think it was called mental health, it was all generalized to depression. And people would just be like, oh, get over it. You'll get over it. It's just a slump. And that's not always the case. Mental health is more than just depression. There's other aspects to it. But back then, it was just talked into that. And I believe I want to be one of the warriors for it. I believe Healthy Gamer's a really good guy to do it. Y'all should check him out. And yeah. Back to today's topic, brain health. Um, what I want to talk about is what I have used from these books. Well, the first thing I did is I cut back on caffeine because that was actually my goal anyway. And when I was cutting back on mainly pre-workout, I was getting way too much caffeine in the day. Like now, it's kind of like, okay, 300 milligrams is okay, and it doesn't affect me, but it should also be lower. Like I would love to keep it. I love to go with no caffeine, but I get about 200 to 300 a day, which is a whole lot better than what I got this time last year. I was either 700 or 800 milligrams a day. Because I wouldn't say 700, 800. Well, I'll say close to 700. Definitely not 800. I think I might be a little exaggerating a little bit, but I believe I've gotten 700 milligrams of caffeine normally. You're probably like, oh, that's weak. I get blah, blah, blah. Well, that's fine. Whatever. You have your own problem. I got my own problem. I seen mine has a problem, and I wanted to change it, and I did. So, and I was like, I want to use some of these principles, maybe keep me high energy, change my brain chemistry where I won't feel the urge to need caffeine. Which is, I mean, from the book, I've branched more and seen other stuff, but it really did help me with the caffeine cut. But I see how much caffeine would affect the brain, and I was like, okay, so that's where I need to aim at. And what I did was every new pre-workout I would buy, I made sure it had less. And then I would use the supplements that I've taken from the brain health books and use that. Because the way it would work is I would do a full scoop in the morning, hit the gym. When I got time for work, I would fill my cup up and throw in a other full scoop of pre-workout. And I didn't get the low end stuff. I bought the high stem. So I'm talking to 365, 320 milligrams of caffeine per scoop. And then even then, if I was like, oh, well, I need some flavor, I had these little squeezers, caffeine squeezers, and just throw it on there. It's like an extra 70, 90 a squeeze. So I was getting a lot of caffeine. So I was like, okay, well, I got to change my rituals, right? So I started with the caffeine cutback. I was like, well, what can I take from this book? Well, this book offers a bunch of supplements, right? That would help your brain. I was like, that is good. That's a good idea. So I bought me a serotonin supplement to help me relax, and it did. It does great. It does give me energy. There's some other stuff I took. I took some GABA gummies. Uh, I was currently on a multivitamin, so I was like, well, I'll finish it back. I'll finish it off because I was doing it for my workout stuff. So I took some serotonin supplements, and there's a test you could take. And if I remember, I'll put the link in the description. It tells you your brain type. Like it's a free test to take. I think it's a brain fit assessment. In fact, like I said, if I remember, I'll put the link of it in the description. That way you can go take it yourself. Because here's the important thing. You'll take the test and honestly answer honestly, because that's if you lie about it, ain't gonna help you, right? You just cheat yourself. But you answer those questions, you get an email like maybe like an hour or two later. It tells you your brain type, and then it also gives you information of what you could do to help that brain type. Like I don't remember what brain type I mean. I think I was like 8 or something like that. And one of the things that the email told me says you should take serotonin. I was like, okay, I'll try it. Why not? So I took a serotonin. I bought some other gummies like Literacerine. I even bought a dopamine, but the dopamine I didn't really like. I think the serotonin was where it's at, so I kept buying the serotonin. There's a bunch of stuff. I can't remember everything that I bought, but I know my favorite ones that I took was serotonin. I took a lot of things. I took some, like I said, GABA gummies, L-tauruserine, which I probably butchered the name, but that was some gummies, and that was pretty good too. And then I had capsules and other stuff. I wish I could sit here and remember what everything I took was, but I don't. That's the sad part. I should have made a list. Could have prepared for the podcast a little bit better, right, guys? Of course, you can always get better. And then the negative guys out there be like, oh, you suck ass. Well, whatever. Growth mindset, improvement mindset, right? So the supplements break down. I mean, this whole book breaks down a bunch of supplements you can take. I always am cautious with supplements. You don't want to overdo one mineral, especially like magnesium or anything like that. So you really want to know what you're putting in your body. So pay attention to that. Magnesium glycinate or something like that. There's something in there that he recommends, and I see it a lot, but I won't take it because some of the other stuff I got has magnesium in it. I have the bottle just waiting for me to take it, but I won't because I'm waiting on me to just have that only, you know. And outside these books, I've looked into like Lion's Mane and Cordyceps, and they've done really good. Cordyceps has helped me out a lot. But Lion's Mane has really helped me with brain fog, and when I was in that state, because I had a lot of brain fog back then. I still have a little bit now, but I'm not on Lion's Mane anymore. Because I don't think you should supplement stuff forever. I think you should cycle off things, which is something I need to do a pre-workout, which I've not been able to do, still not able to do. But I am having days where I don't take pre-workout, so that is progress compared to this time last year, where it was an everyday thing. So yeah, some supplements you could try. It's great. I'm sure I have some of it in the extra notes down here where we get into Bright Minds. I've tried a lot. I have changed my diet too. I've had a lot of diet changes because I never realized the importance of gut health, and they call gut like your second brain. It's like a microbiomes and stuff like that. It was like, wow. So like what you put in your gut affects your brain because it's like they're like homies or something. I don't know. They like to hang out. They work together. They're workout buddies, I guess you could say. So what you put in the gut affects your brain. I guess you could say the other way around. Brain affects the gut, right? So I mean, I was working on that. I'm eating more vegetables now. I started drinking green tea. I hate green tea. I hate the taste of it. But as times went on, it's actually tasting better because your taste buds change. Fully believe that because that's how I wanted to eat healthy back when I was more into bodybuilding and was like first getting into it. I was like, okay, I gotta eat this, even though it tastes like crap. And then months later, like, this actually is good. It's sweet. That's the way my cereal was, man. I first started eating my Kache cereal and years ago, and it was just nasty. I hated it. I couldn't even finish it. I was like, I want my Captain Crunch because I was big on Captain Crunch before that. But I was like, well. As time went on, I forced myself to eat it. It actually started tasting sweet, and like now, no cereal can compare to it in my eyes. It's like I gotta have that. And they branched out and like got some cool stuff like peanut butter and like, oh yeah, peanut butter kernels in it and stuff. It's been good. I enjoyed it. Still do. Green tea is really good for your brain. It's good for inflammation. It's even got caffeine to energize you a little bit. And a low dose of natural caffeine, like 35 milligrams on the one that I drink. I drink green tea like once every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I don't drink it every day because it still got calories in it. And so yeah, green tea is one thing I've added in from these books that I've just seen important. It benefited a lot of areas of the brain. It's good for a lot of things. So I was like, okay, that's worth doing. Now I'm also on my diet change. I started eating more vegetables and fruit because fruits and vegetables are really important. Which we grow up, we grow when we're growing up, we're told they're important, but you learn how important they actually are. Um, Things start to change. I think the biggest change in my diet from these books and brain health in general um, is it's really changed my relationship with food. Like, and it's deeper than just these books because I've kept learning after finishing these books from other outlets that's not Daniel G to get other ideas and other outlooks. And it's just like, okay, if I eat this, I know how I'm going to feel. I know what it's going to do to my body. It may taste good. Like even me yesterday, I was offered some cupcakes and they looked really good. And I was like, they look good. I won't eat them though. Because I know what they'll do to me. I know how my body will react in the long term if I eat it. So like but that's for me learning and learning and learning about it. From taking some nutrition classes as well and learning about it. When I learned about nutrition, I learned the effect it connects to the brain. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I learned that when I read these books. Um, and it's really changed my relationship with food, which I think is the biggest positive from these books in the diet change area. It's changed my relationship with food, and that alone has changed my decision making when I eat. Like processed foods, I won't even eat them. Well, yeah, processed foods, I won't even eat them. Example, I used to love Viney Weenies. I just won't touch them now because they're processed. And I was like, I know how my body will react to that, so I won't eat them. So real quick, I do want to talk about the Bright Minds quick talk. Bright Minds is an analogy he uses to break down, and this one comes from this book, Change Your Brain Every Day, because I'm pretty sure it's not in that first book. I'm pretty sure he has a different way of breaking it up. But I don't want to give the whole book away, but I did want to pick something that I think is very important. So I'm talking about from what I've used personally, and I've done more. That's just the big ones I want to talk about. I didn't want to do no more than 3 because I want to talk about Bright Minds Outlook. And this will also connect to today's challenge. So pay attention to all these. I'm going to tell you what each letter means, and then I'm going to tell you something you can do to improve that area of the brain. All these things have an effect on the brain. That's why they're called the Bright Minds Factor. And the first one is your blood flow. How your blood circulates throughout your body affects your brain. So how can you fix this, or how can you improve this, right? You drink more water, or you limit your caffeine levels. Your caffeine's at a lower level, your blood flow improves. You drink more water, your body needs water. It improves your blood flow. Let me get a quick drink here. This next one's a big one to me because this would be something that my genetics would affect. R is retirement/aging. So as you get older, your brain is affected. How can you improve this? Always keep learning. Learn new jobs at your work. Get a new job if you're not feeling fulfilled anymore. Learn an outside job. It can be learn new hobbies. Learn about fixing stuff. Learn about this. Learn about that. Pretty much engage in new learning. Excuse me. Engage in at least 15 minutes a day in learning something new. That could be a new language, learning how to play an instrument, learning new skills. You can even say furthering other skills. It's just keep learning, because if your brain's not learning, it's kind of like, it's gonna get hardened pretty much. And then if you don't use it, you lose it. That's true with muscles. I think that's true with your brain health too, because the brain's very complex. The first I in Bright Mind stands for inflammation. So how do you fix your inflammation? Which this is what connects to the gut health. No processed foods. Cut out the processed foods. Eat less sugar. Or as simple as flossing your teeth every day. And that's something that I actually started doing, was flossing my teeth every day. And I have a hard time flossing my teeth. So I was like, okay, today I just want to learn how to floss my teeth. So I learned that, and it's like, today I'm gonna do 1, 2, and I did that, and I kept going. I bought different type of flossing. I bought the little flossing picks because I have an easier time using them than I do a actual floss string. So floss your teeth, eliminate processed foods, become aware of how much sugar you get in a day, and cut back on the sugar. Because I think it'd be really hard to eliminate. If you could eliminate the sugar all in one day, go for it. But I think the best thing to do, realistically, is see how much sugar you get on a normal day and be like, okay, so if I average 30 milligram sugars and I want to cut back sugars, let's see how I can cut back from 30 down to 25, 25 down to 20, 20 down to whatever my goal is. Just cut back. And if you can do half from 30 to 15, amazing. I think I'm probably completely wrong. I don't think that you're supposed to get more than 20 milligrams. I think it's like the recommended allowed, right? Or the daily allowance is like 30 milligrams. I mean, it could be lower than that. It could be like 25. I think it's between 20 and 30. I just don't remember what the number is off the top of my head. The G stands for genetics. Know your family history, if you're able to. Now, if not, you're gonna have to do a lot of digging out to figure out, how do I figure out my family history? And I can't even give you the answer to that one. Do like an ancestry account or something? I don't know. But see, know your family history. Know how your body, how your DNA is done in the past, pretty much. That way, once you know your family history, you can make a plan. Like for me, If it wasn't for my family history of Alzheimer's, I might not went down the brain health focused path with these books. I might not even bought the books, I might not been training my brain. The H stands for head trauma, and this was something that was a big eye opener to me. First, I'll go ahead and tell you just a quick thing you can do: don't text and drive, and don't drink and drive, because you got to protect your head. And learn these. Well, as I was going through these books, that changed my outlook. I used to be a big sports guy. I still am a big sports guy. And I was always like, yeah, I play football, But now I wouldn't even let my kids play football. And they're like, oh, I'll play soccer. And I was like, I don't know about soccer anymore. And I wasn't gonna allow my kids to play soccer, but I'm gonna let them play because they're wanting to play. But I tell them this: if I see you hit that ball with your head on purpose one time, you done playing. And I know they'll probably be encouraged, but you gotta protect your head. There's so many issues that it can cause if you do have head trauma. So protect your head. That's what the H is. T stands for toxins. And there's this app. I got it from the App Store. He talks about it in the book. Very limited talk about it in the book. He gives you a suggestion what you can do. And it's called, I think it was called, what, Dirty Minds? What's the name of the app? Yep, the Dirty app. The Think Dirty. That's the one. It's called Think Dirty. I think Dirty Minds was like a game. Think Dirty. Download that. Use it for stuff that you put on your body. This is what toxins are. It's what we're exposed to. So get the Think Dirty app. It does cost money, but it doesn't cost money to use. So I didn't pay for it, but I used it to see what my score was. So scan the products, hair products, whatever you put on your skin, anything that gets absorbed by the body or your hair. Scan it. It'll give you a score. The higher the number, the more toxic the materials are to your body and your brain. So see what your number is, and then be like, you can look on the app and see what things have lower numbers at the toxic level, and then buy alternatives to with the skin products you use, the makeup. Even if you're female, the makeup. Guys wear makeup nowadays too, right? So your makeup, your shampoo, your conditioner. Hell, I would say even your soap. If you use body wash, everything. Hairspray, face cream, anything you put on your body, get your score, get your toxic score. The higher, the worse it is. But like, okay, so you got your score. Now find alternative products, buy them instead, and watch your score go down. So that's how you can improve the toxins. Moving on, that's your bright. That's the word bright. Now we're going to do minds. M, mental health, huge thing. I don't even want to go into too much detail. This is the first thing you can do. What I pull away for you to do for this is decrease your screen time and increase your sleep time. Spend less times in front of a screen, whether it be TV, especially phone before bed, and video games, whatever you have, a Switch. I got a Steam Deck, any of that. Decrease your screen time, increase your sleeping time. So better sleeping habits. Turn the screens off like 30 minutes to an hour before bed. Get you a bedtime routine in. I cuddle with my wife and we talk about our day. And then when she goes to sleep or we turn away from each other, I think about the day. And that drifts me off to sleep. So anyway, that's me. The second I, the I in bright minds, in the word minds, is immunity/infections, which is pretty much illness, right? So strengthen your immune system is my takeaway from that. Take some vitamin D and have good hygiene. Wash your hands frequently. Take showers. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Don't be nasty. Don't eat things off the floor. Take care of your immune system and get more vitamin D. And the N in bright mind stands for neurohormone issues. I believe I could be wrong, but I think it's like GABA and all that, your brain hormones. I could be totally wrong, but manage your stress and do weight training. Work out, lift weights. Come on now, manage your stress. Do stress management things, have routines to handle your stress, whether that be meditation, whether that be listening to nature sounds, or going for a gratitude walk, or going for a nature walk, going bird watching, journaling, writing your emotions, writing your day, all that. Have a routine to handle your stress. And of course, work out, do some weights. D is a word he calls diabetes, which is like diabetes and obesity put together in one word. Diabetes. Uh, Kind of connects in with the earlier thing I said earlier about cutting back on sugar. Restrict your sugary foods. The lower the amount of sugar you get every day. You want to start by recognizing your baseline of the amount you get normally, start cutting back. And sugar from fruits versus sugar in other foods are treated differently by the body. Ain't that crazy? I learned that recently. So it's like, I don't know, it's just different. And the final one, the S, sleep issues. Aim to get at least 7 hours of sleep a day. And if you don't get 7 hours, what's your average a week? If you average 4 hours a night, start getting five. If you can't jump from 4 to 7, work your way up. Go from 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. If you Ideally, eight's what you want to get. I aim for at least 6. I get 7 sometimes. I aim for at least 6. And that's something I never really prioritized in my past with sleep. Now, going into the challenge of the day. Well, hell, challenge of the month, because this is the podcast for the month, and it's a monthly basis right now. I'm looking to get into weekly basis, but I'm not there yet. I gotta stay consistent monthly first, right? I want you to choose one Bright Minds technique and use it for a month. And when you check out a month later, we're on the next podcast, talk about it. Let me know how it's affected you. Journal it down, keep it to yourself, whatever you want to do. If you're feeling extra ready to go, extra thrive, choose 3 bright mind factors to improve in your brain health. 3 techniques. And, if you're really going all in, do them all. But I don't recommend you doing them all. It's going to be very hard to stay consistent with that. So, quick rundown for blood: drink more water, limit caffeines. For the B, for the R, 15 minutes of learning every day, something new every day, whether it's skill, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying? Skill, language, instrument, anything. The first I, floss your teeth or eliminate processed foods. For the G, know your family history. Do not text, drink, and drive. For the H, for the T, try the Think Dirty app. See what your toxic score is. Aim to get a lower number and buy alternatives. For the M, decrease your screen time and increase your sleep time. So less time in front of a screen, more time sleeping. Get some better sleeping habits. The next I, the I in Bright Minds, get more vitamin D and strengthen your hormone. Get more vitamin D and have good hygiene to strengthen your immune system. The N, have you a stress management technique or work out, lift weights, do some weight training. For the D, let's cut back on the sugar. So start restricting your sugary foods. And for the S, aim to improve your sleep to at least 7 hours a day, realistically 6 if you get less than 6, and then build upon there. And that pretty much sums up the brain health that I wanted to talk about today. Since it's in front of me, I want to pull up what, if I even had one, the challenge from last episode was, because I didn't even put it on the notes. What was the challenge? This month's challenge was start practicing gratitude. Okay, the last month's challenge was practice gratitude every day. How did that go? I said you can either do it by audio journal or writing it down. Practice gratitude every day. For me, I don't write it down anymore or do an audio journal. It's actually part of my bedtime routine. I said earlier that I cuddle with my wife. We talk about our day, and then when I turn away from, I think about the day and go to sleep. But during that thinking process, I think about the things that I'm grateful for. Like I see the day, how the day planned out in my head, and I think about the things that I was grateful for of that day. And then if I'm still awake after that, I'm thinking about things I'm grateful for, you know, in general, past week, past month, past year, in life in general, you know. That's part of my bedtime routine. Gratitude is a very great emotion. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I gotta do a quick cardio workout before I head to work. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Talk of the Day, and I will see you next month. I'm not quite sure what I'm talking about yet, but we'll find out then. Hit the subscribe button to keep up with the podcast. Thank you for spending your time with me. I plan on doing live podcast soon, and then from there branching out and getting guests on the show. Let's see how that goes, baby. Have a wonderful month, and I will see you in September, the month that I turn 31. See you guys.